Hi everyone, this video is designed to show you how to take an existing quiz inside Moodle and convert it into a locked down browser enabled exam. So Moodle uses the term quiz to mean any set of questions you make available in the one spot for students to complete. So this video assumes you already have a quiz ready to utilize. If you're needing to make one from scratch, a separate video will be available to show you how to do this. Okay. So if we head to our course where the quiz we want to convert is located, here's my course and my quiz is here, the one called Trial Quiz. So at the moment it's just a Moodle quiz that they take inside Moodle like normal, no lockdown features available. My quiz is available currently to students. However, yours doesn't have to be before you start this process. It can still be hidden from students, which is useful if you don't want any students looking at the quiz or attempting it before you're ready. The first thing that needs to be done inside our course is we need to turn edit mode on at the top right. Now we've got a few more options and we need to click on add a block on the right hand side here. And from this list we need to select Respondus Lockdown Browser. This will make the Respondus Lockdown Browser dashboard available inside this course for us to use. If for any reason this doesn't appear in your list to select, just lodge a ticket and we'll try and get it sorted as soon as possible. Now I've got a Respondus Lockdown Browser block added to the right hand side of my course. If we click on the dashboard button here, it will take us to all of those options that are now available inside our Moodle course. We'll just give that a second to load and our new window appears. I'll start by saying that Respondus has some really great tutorials and tips for utilizing these functions. To access them, just on the right hand side here, there's Getting Started, Video Tutorials, and Guides and Support tabs. If you've got the time, I suggest having a look at some of those resources because there's some really good stuff in there. Alright, so on this first page here that we had load, it actually lists all of the quizzes that are currently in my course. From this list, I get to pick the quiz that I would like to be turned into a locked down quiz or exam or assessment. Inside Moodle, that word quiz is kind of interchangeable for those things. So the one I want to use is Trial Quiz down the bottom here. If I click on this little drop down button here and then click on Settings, it will open up another little box below that now has the option to require the Respondus Lockdown Browser for this exam. Once I hit that, we get some more options open up now as well. I mentioned that proctoring is available and you can allow instructor live proctoring, but I won't head into that for this video. Alright. Advanced settings is where we need to go next because there's some really important options under that we might need to go through depending on what you need from your quiz. So if I open that up with the plus, all these options now pop up and we'll go through them one by one, but Respondus also has an explain little link there beside each option that gives you some detailed information about what each of those do. So I click on that, it'll take me to a new page. And this one has pop-ups. So if you're ever not sure, if you just hover over that or click on it, it will give you a lot more information that will come in handy. Alright, first option here. Lock students into the browser until the exam is completed. For this option, it removes the exit button from the student's exam browser. And they must reach the end of the exam and press submit. They can't quit early. If you leave this option off, students can exit the exam at any time, but they are required to add a reason for exiting the exam that will be available to you after they finish. I do suggest enabling it though, as when we're setting these, I like the browser to be as locked down as possible. But it is also recommended that you only do this in a supervised environment in case there are technical issues. So if I tick that, I now get an option to add a password for exiting the exam early. I do also recommend you set that and then keep the password safe. So you get to enter a password of your choosing in there. Make sure it's secure. make sure it's kept safe as well, that the students don't get access to that password. And what that does is it gives the students an option to still click an exit button, but have it ask for a password. You, as a supervisor, can then place that password into their device to allow them to exit the browser from their exam. The reason you might want to do that is if they're having some kind of technical difficulty. So if they need to swap to another device because there's something wrong with their current one, you may need to exit the exam on their first device, and that will be how you can override that tick with the password. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You can still exit if you absolutely must, but generally it is completely locked down with no ability to exit the exam early. Alright, next option there, allow the students to take this exam with an iPad. I don't recommend that because we haven't tested it at this stage. Alright, next one, allow access to specific external web domains. And if I tick that, a box appears asking me to type stuff in there. What it's asking for is a URL or a external website that you can have available inside your exam, inside the lockdown browser. For example, I could allow an online textbook to be made available inside my exam that students can open a new tab while they're in the exam in the lockdown situation. They're able to view whatever resource you decide they need available to them by adding it in this little box here, making it an allowed site, but it also does need to be included as a link in one of the questions in your exam. So another example is I might, if I'm creating a science paper, I want to include an interactive periodic table of the elements that I found that's a really great resource, and I think I want them to be able to use it during their test. You would give them a link to the site that hosts that periodic table, and you would also enter the link here in this allowed section. For this particular exam though, I'm going to leave that off. Alright, enable calculator. That's if you'd like to have an electronic calculator available to students inside the lockdown exam. If I tick that, it gives me two options, standard and scientific. I'm going to leave that off because my exam doesn't require a calculator. Next up is enable printing from the toolbar. Generally this won't be used unless you've got special circumstances. Alright, now that I've gone through those options, I'm happy with that. I want to require it. I can click save and close. Alright, it's now converting that exam or that quiz into a test that must be taken inside the lockdown browser. And I can see on the right here it now says required below lockdown browser. If I head back to my course, I'll just turn edit mode off so it looks more like what the students see. And I click on trial quiz, so that's the one I picked from that list. I have options for a preview here, and it shows previous attempts in there. This is different to what the students will see though. So as a teacher, you see these details. If I change myself to a student, I now have the option here that says Respondus lockdown browser is required for this exam. So this is what the students will see. And they get the option to download the lockdown browser if they haven't already, and they can check it, and they can launch the exam provided you've set it up that they're ready to take it. There'll be another video showing how students prepare their devices though, and what process they need to follow to start doing these exams inside the lockdown browser. So thank you for your time.